At what number does your job stop controlling your life? 9:47 p.m. Tuesday. The cursor is blinking. Your laptop is open to a calculator app you haven't touched in 3 years. The coffee went cold 20 minutes ago. You haven't moved. You just typed in the number that's been sitting in the back of your head for months. $62,000, your salary. Below it, the cursor waits for you to ask the question you've been avoiding since you were 25. How much do you actually need invested to never need this paycheck again? You don't know. Nobody told you. School didn't teach you. Work didn't teach you. Every financial guru online says $1 million like it was a fact, like it was settled, like you didn't need to question it. So tonight you decided to test the math yourself. But tonight you're questioning it. Because you ran the numbers last week and something didn't add up. The math the gurus were selling didn't match the math your bank account was showing. So tonight you opened a real calculator and you decided you were going to figure this out yourself. You start typing. Your monthly expenses first. Rent $1,400. Car payment $380. Groceries $520. Utilities $190. Phone $90. Insurance $240. Subscriptions you forgot to cancel $84. Gas $200. The miscellaneous, everything that adds up to another $700 total. $4,200 a month. $50,400 a year just to exist. You stare at the number. You're not living lavishly. You're not wasting money. You're just alive in United States and it costs $50,400 a year to stay that way. You take a sip of cold coffee. The real question isn't how much you need to retire. The real question is how much it costs to live like you're not afraid anymore. You believe the number everyone sold you. $1 million and you're free. You're not free. The calculator just told you something nobody on YouTube ever did. $1 million invested at a 4% safe withdrawal rate gives you $40,000 a year before taxes, before inflation, before the hospital bill you didn't plan for. Your expenses are $50,400 a year. $1 million puts you $10,000 short of the cost of being alive. You sit back in your chair. You've been chasing this number for 10 years. You've turned down vacations. You've driven a car you hated for an extra 3 years. You've eaten lunch at your desk 1,000 times. You did the math wrong every single one of those days. The finish line you were sprinting toward isn't a finish line. It's a checkpoint. And the checkpoint doesn't even cover your rent. Something in your chest goes quiet because the math just changed your future. You think about the version of you who started saving at 25. The version who put off having a kid because the money wasn't ready yet. The version who skipped the wedding in Mexico because the flight was too expensive. The version who told yourself it would all be worth it when you hit the number. You're closer to the number than you've ever been. And you just learned the number doesn't mean what you thought. It's not the millionaires you're angry at. It's the math. You stare at the cold coffee in front of you. You realize you weren't almost free. You weren't even close. The question isn't whether $1 million is enough. The question is what number actually replaces a life with taxes, with inflation, with the medical bill and the broken transmission you can't predict. You start typing the real numbers. The number you type next decides how many more years you belong to your job. The despair lasted 4 minutes. Then something hit you that nobody on YouTube ever said. You don't need to replace your salary. You need to replace your bills. That's two different numbers. One is a mountain. One is a staircase. Your salary is $62,000. After taxes, you take home $48,000. After 401k, you actually live on $42,000. That's the real number you'd have to replace if you walked away tomorrow. $42,000, not $62,000. The number just shrunk by $20,000 while you were sitting still. You start running smaller numbers. What if your portfolio paid just one bill? Just one. Your phone bill is $90 a month. To replace it forever, your portfolio would need $27,000 invested. You stare at the screen. You have $34,000 in your 401k. You stop breathing for a second. You weren't supposed to feel anything tonight except dread. Instead, you just discovered your phone bill is paid for the rest of your life. Already tonight. You've been free of something for 2 years and nobody told you. You run the next bill, your car payment, $380 a month. To replace it forever, you'd need $114,000 invested. You don't have that, not yet. But you can see the shape of the path now. Each bill has a number. Each number is a door. And each door closes a chain that's been wrapped around your job for 10 years. You don't need $1 million. You need to start closing doors. For the first time in 10 years, the finish line stopped moving away from you. You start the real math now, the math everyone avoids because it forces honesty. Your bills are $4,200 a month, $50,400 a year. The portfolio that pays them forever has to cross $1,260,000, not $1 million, $1.26 million. You felt that extra $260,000 land somewhere in your stomach. You keep going, because withdrawals from a 401k get taxed. So you'd actually need to pull more than $50,400 to keep $50,400. The number jumps to $1,575,000. It grew by another $315,000 while you weren't looking. The couch, the laptop, the number, 1114. You haven't moved. Then you add the thing you've been avoiding, inflation. In 30 years, your $50,400 doesn't pay for what it pays for today. It pays for half, maybe less. To survive that math, the real number you need invested is closer to $1.8 million. This is the truth nobody on YouTube tells you. The honest number isn't $1 million. It's roughly $1.8 million for someone with your exact bills. Almost double the lie they sold you. The screen stays lit. You just stare at it. You did the real math for the first time in your life, and the truth is, sitting on your screen looking back at you. You feel something heavier than disappointment. You feel the years you spent thinking you were almost there. The Friday nights you stayed in. The vacations you skipped. The version of you who believed the finish line was a mile away when it was actually 2 miles. And that's when you remember the door. You don't replace the whole life at once. You replace one bill, then another. The $1.8 million is the door at the end of the hallway, but there are doors before that one. You don't need to walk through the last door tonight. You just need to know which one you're closing first. You open a new tab, The savings calculator, the one you've avoided for 10 years. You type your numbers in carefully. Current portfolio $34,000. Monthly contribution $500. Average return 7%. You hit calculate. The screen lands on a year. You read it twice, then once more to be sure. Age 76. That's when you reach $1.8 million at your current pace. You stare at the number until the screen blurs. You're 32. You'd retire at 76. 44 more years of waking up at 6:30 in the morning. 44 more years of sitting through quarterly reviews about goals nobody hits. 44 more years of saying thanks, I appreciate it, to a manager who doesn't remember your name on weekends. The math says you don't have decades, you have a sentence. You feel the anger come up before you can name it. Not at yourself. At every adult who told you saving $500 a month would be enough. At every retirement calculator that hides this number behind cheerful graphs. At every coworker who says they'll figure it out later, as if later is just another Monday. You bump the contribution up $1,000 a month. Age 64. You bump it up again. $1,500 a month. Age 58. You bump it to $2,000 a month. Age 53. You stop typing. The numbers move 23 years closer to freedom and you can't afford any of them. $2,000 a month is half your take-home pay. It's the wedding you don't go to, the car you don't replace, the trips you don't take. It's giving up the next decade of being alive to buy a decade later of not having to work. You walk to the window. The street outside is empty. Your reflection looks back at you in the dark glass. This is the trade nobody tells you about. Time now versus time later. Everyone makes it. Most people just don't know they're making it. The number isn't the problem. The years are. You walk back from the window. You sit on the floor next to the couch because the chair feels too official for what you're about to do. You open the spreadsheet one more time. You start cutting things from your life. Real things. Things that matter. The streaming services. $42 a month gone. You'll watch what's free. The gym membership you signed up for in January and stopped going to in February. $35 a month gone. The takeout you ordered 3 times last week. $280 a month gone. You'll cook every night, even when you're tired. The car you leased instead of the one you could afford. The difference is $180 a month. Gone. You'll drive a used sedan with a scratch on the door. The vacation you take every February. Gone for the next 5 years. The new phone you upgrade every 2 years. Gone. You'll keep the cracked screen. The dinner with friends every Friday. Cut to once a month. The total lands at $850 a month freed. $10,200 a year going straight into the portfolio instead of the life. You run the calculator again with the new number. Age 47. The years collapsed in front of you. 29 of them just gone from the weight. You sit on the floor in the dark living room and feel the trade for the first time. Not in your head. In your body. 29 years of your life back. In exchange for everything that makes a Tuesday feel like more than a Tuesday. You think about the version of you who said yes to every dinner. Yes to every vacation. Yes to every upgrade. He was happy. He was also working until 76. You think about the version who says no to all of it. He retires at 47. He spent 15 years declining everything that made him feel alive to buy back the rest of his life. Neither of them got it right. You're going to have to find a third version. The third version starts now. The one between yes to everything and no to everything. You cut $500 a month instead of $850. You keep the February vacation. You keep one dinner with friends a week. You keep being a person. You run the number. The screen lands on a year. Age 54. You count it. 22 years. Not the fantasy of 47. Not the prison of 76. 22 years of doing the boring thing on purpose. You're not buying a number anymore. You're buying a date. The street outside is empty. 2 windows across the road are still lit. Other people awake at 12:43 a.m. doing math they don't talk about. The real number was never $1 million. The real number is 22 years. 22 years of saying no to things that don't matter, so you can say yes to the rest of your life. You don't close the laptop yet. The number is still on the screen. Age 54, it's 1:17 a.m. You think about who you have to become to keep this promise. The man who says no on a Friday night when everyone is going out. The man who drives the same car for 10 years. The man who skips the wedding in Greece because the flight is $1,400, and that's $1,400 the portfolio doesn't get. You think about who you have to stop being. The one who finances things he can't afford. The one who keeps saying, "I'll figure it out next year," as if next year is a person who exists. 22 years of saying no now, so you can say yes later. But you think about the man sitting here at 54. He'll be somewhere with no alarm clock waiting for him. He'll be looking at a number that matches the one on your screen right now. He'll have a portfolio that pays his bills forever. He'll have a calendar with no Mondays in it. You don't know him yet. You can barely picture him. But you're about to spend 22 years building him. You close the laptop slowly. The room goes dark. You don't feel free. Not yet. But you feel something you haven't felt in 10 years. You feel like you have a plan. Somewhere tonight, someone is staring at a calculator with their salary on the screen. They believe the number is $1 million. Everyone told them. They don't know the real number is almost double. They don't know the answer was never a dollar amount. 22 years of doing the boring thing on purpose. One door closing at a time. Becoming the version of you your future self will recognize. Most people open the calculator. They see the number. They close the laptop. They never run the math again. You did. The choice is being made at a kitchen table somewhere in the United States right now by someone who looks a lot like you. Subscribe. The next decision you make decides which version of you shows up at 54.